Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Pekka, and my story is Unlock Faster Mobile Releases, Lessons from Wolt. Shortly, the agenda is the following. First, let's have an introduction of Wolt and myself, and deep dive the problem state and some history about our mobile releases. And then I have 4 different topics to go through, which helped us to be faster in our releases. And in the end, we will wrap up. Let's start with the introduction of Wolt. So Wolt makes cities a better place to live. It means that it empowers the local stores and strengthening the customer satisfaction. Also, we are expanding globally, but with the local touch. We are not a machine, but we are humans working for humans. And our customer humans also like us. As on the screen is provided some statistics, we are really proud of them. And also, we have a global footprint on the map. Also, we are creating the platform to connect everything together. We have a consumer application, courier application, and merchant application. Today, we are talking about consumer application. Short brief about myself. My name is Pekka, and in work I help the organization testing in different levels, sharing knowledge, external, internal, and enabling our people to be better at their work. Also, I have hobbies such as long-distance running, playing a little bit bad chess, and a big fan of Greece, of course, because my better half is Greek. Before we go to the problem, there is a small disclaimer. All the tips and tricks I share today might not apply to your domain. So, what's the big deal? As a company, as a Wolt, we were just basically too slow. And as the nature of mobile releases, shortly in the nutshell, is that you create a build from iOS or Android, and then you send it to the distributor, which is App Store or Play Store, and then they will give you a green light. And then you can start releasing. So that's the difference between the web and mobile releases. But in our case, in 2020, when I joined Wolt around 5 years ago, we didn't have a strict process or anything about releases. We were just releasing when we felt like it. That's really relaxed manner. Good stuff. But we were growing rapidly. A lot of hiring, a lot of new engineers, and it meant a lot of code, a lot of commit, a lot of PRs. And then we got stuck with our releases. And we couldn't provide that fast the good stuff we made to the customers. But first, before understanding all the problems, we need to look a little bit at the history. And there is a number next to the year, and it means amount of contributor between iOS and Android repositories. So, 2017, one team, ad hoc releases, like just try to survive. 2020, hiring ramps up. We have 2 teams, one bigger core team and another feature team. When I'm referring to a team in this talk, I'm referring to the setup like 2 to 4 mobile engineers, 1 web engineer, designer, data analyst, and team lead. That's like the basic setup of a feature team. So, 2 teams contributing to the mobile releases. QA, as me and my colleague and few others, we were testing everything. And release took 3 to 5, even 6 to 7 weeks with the hot fixes on. 2021, we realized hey, this is not gonna work. If QA is testing everything, it's just a big bottleneck. We cannot keep the quality high, and it's just too much load. So we need to change the testing mindset. And we did some small tweaks also, let's start testing more in the PR level. But 2022, we finally got a process of release testing, good documented one. And it's called Release Train V1. It was 3 weeks, from code freeze to code freeze. And same time, we also changed our Google Sheet, that was our testing repository, to this program called Case. 2023, end of the year, we were thinking hey, maybe we should be we can do this in 1 week. This is still a little bit too slow. Should we try it? And let's have a plan. Let's create a group of people and let's see what we need. But before that, 2024, we did another patch in our process. Release Train V2, which was 2 weeks release. We do the code freeze to code freeze 2 weeks, and also we finally aligned our clients releasing in the same time. Because in the past, it was only Android first week and iOS came on the second week. I will show these release trains and bullet trains in slides soon. And then, today, we are at our bullet train project, which we have a release every week. And roughly, we are 25 teams, maybe it's around 30 nowadays. A lot of people contributing. It's a lot of communication, I must say. So let's go and deep dive a little bit how these setups look like. So 2022 was our first structured release, and it looks something like this. Code freeze happens. The red part is a testing, regression testing. And then we start releasing. And there was 2 weeks time to do other tasks, such as feature developing. And when Android regression testing was over, iOS started. But 2024, we synchronized our clients, and it was 2 weeks. Testing 1 week, release 1 week, and so on. It was great. It was great. And this is the existing setup. So week 1 and week 2 are connected to each other. I didn't have enough design skills to make it look really cool. So on a Tuesday morning, we make a code freeze. And it means that CI starts crunching the builds, and we do a welcome message, welcome to the bullet train. Here is your builds, and we will ping all the teams. And the responsible people hey, it's time to go. The siren of the train is here, it's time to go. So the teams have 1 day plus, the red part, 1 day plus time to test their things, their regression tests. Thursday, everybody needs to be ready. We send the builds to the stores, App Store, Play Store. And if we are lucky, we can already start Friday releasing 1%. Weekend goes, and automatically, next Monday, we start releasing iOS, and then Android is 10, and already the next week starts, new train comes, Android is 100%, and later on that week, iOS is also 100%. But I talked about these 4 topics, and there was a lot of 4 different teams, maybe even more. which helped us to get faster. So, quality assurance versus quality assistance. This is like 1 hour, 2 hour topic as a whole. I think my colleague has done it in some of the meetups, but I just try to refer it really quickly. In the past, when QA was testing everything, it was like, it was little bit, I can't say that other people in the company were not like responsible for the quality, but the load was more on QA on that time, because we were testing everything. So we switched the mindset that the teams, the feature teams, are owning their own craft. And feature team also can mean that it's like you own this feature or this flow. So we changed from that. So we had more people to test. Also, in the past, we tested after PR was merged, and that's a little bit too late. And so we changed the thing in the assistance model that we do the testing when the product is like planned, designs, data, and we do pair testing, pair coding, or testing parties. So we do a lot of testing. Than 1 or 2 persons checking all the tickets and doing the regression. And yeah, in the end, in the old setup was like QA was doing everything and maintaining the test cases. But in the assistance mindset, it's like teams are owning the tests, owning the automation, and owning the regression testing. That made us going faster. All-time classics, automation. You need it. And on the top right, you can see some of the tools we are using in our release processes. Good tip, I would say, that you have, of course, good hygiene in your CI pipeline, but you can provide different kind of builds. Prod build, testing build, staging build, debug, non-debug build, and you know the game. But if you can provide all of the different flavors easily and easy access to everyone, it makes teams easy to test things. Communication, automate that in the regression when the code freeze starts. So you can do like these examples, the welcome messages or how the change log works. Like change log tells you which team make a ticket. But there was a Jira ticket, there was a link to the PR, so you can easily access what is happening in the build on this release candidate. Also, testing management tool Case was really helpful for us. We have a better repository for the testing, and we can do our regression test suites inside the Case automatically, and also run our automation. Not in Case, but the results will come to Case. And I think there was on the timeline section that we were ramping a lot 2024, our UI testing of mobile. We had hard time to find any tool which makes everybody happy. So we have tried at least Espresso or XCTest and Appium in the past, but on those times they didn't work. Maybe the API of the framework was not good enough for us, or the maintenance of the framework was too hard, or the programming language was not suitable for everyone. But now we are going with this Maestro tool, which is kind of human-friendly to write the test, one test for both platforms, easy to set up, and yeah, it has been really helpful for us to achieve the one-week releases. And of course, don't forget your unit tests, any backend tests, or snapshot tests. Then we have defect prioritization. So you can think it as a bug triage tool. It's a document. It's a Jira document. And in the past, we had a problem that we had, let's say, we had this release candidate build, and there was, let's say, 1 week time to test. People find bugs in that build. They were like, hey, I found this bug. I want to fix it. Like, then we were like, okay, like, just, yeah, how big is the change? Like, is it risky change? Can we take this? And yeah, we took them in. But when everybody started to fix to the release candidate build, it meant that sometimes the fixes broke the existing build, which was not very good, and it put the release build in the danger. So we needed to find a way how we can prioritize bugs. We had this gut feeling that this is important, let's fix this. But now, when we have this framework, it helps because we have some data. We have telemetry data. We know, like in this view, in this country, there is these kind of actions. And we can remove this like feeling-based thing. I think this is good to fix. Like, no, we can just calculate, is it on our threshold? Should we fix it? And this helps a lot on the communication. We had this kind of release channel. The discussion about is this bug good or not to go in, it's way easier now to go through these discussions. And of course, the framework tells you the SLA of the bug when you need to fix, or what kind of type of the bug it is. We have a matrix. I will show it soon. And a different kind of severity. And sometimes issues happen during the code freeze. Bad things happen. And then, of course, need to act. Hands on deck. Let's fix this. And when we have fixed the issue to the release candidate build, let's write something about it. Like a mini post-mortem. But we call it as a defect log. It's a great way to learn from the mistakes. Some examples about the issue types and severity levels. Example, authentication issue and crash and compliance. Let's fix them. The list is quite long. And then there is an amount of people, how many people it affects. And then we can do the calculations with the telemetry data. And then issue types are also written open in a way that you can see, like, what does it mean and what could be example of authentication issue. SLA metrics, P0, let's fix it immediately, and so forth. And defect log, what was it about? What is the analysis of the issue? And what we need to do. The action items, the most hard one from that list. But you find a lot of new things and a lot of new fixes and ideas how to prevent issues when you go through it and have a little brainstorm session about it. Release strategies. I have done this stuff now around soon 5 years. I have learned few things, and I want to share them with you. We have seen that if the crash rate and the application hang statistics are good for your threshold, like you have some specific number that, let's say that crashes need to be on this level. If you have rolled your application 10% to the customers and everything looks good, it's time to go. Like, we are ready. Just shoot 100% and give it to the people. There was no time, there was no, how would I say, like no need to wait another 5 days to be sure about it. With 10%, we are confident. Also, sometimes you roll up build, your build to the production, let's say it's 1%. Suddenly, crash happens and spikes comes, it means that a lot of crashes are coming. So you need to press the bullet train brake big time and stop the build. And the ecosystems, if I recall right, they work a little bit differently. In the Android, if you say like stop this build to distribute, it really means that. That build is not shown anymore, even for that 1%. However, in Apple side, it's still there, the bad one. The bad apple is still there for the 1% until you get the new build approved. It's not always like dancing. The timeline what I showed, it's like sometimes things can happen. Example that you send the build to the review, but nothing happens in 4 days. Google doesn't respond. Apple doesn't respond. What's going on? You don't see it. You send your package to the black box, and then suddenly maybe they say like, yeah, it's good. But 4 days went. What was going on? So that can happen. Also, they can say that, hey, we can't log in to your application with these test credentials you have provided to them, but they work good. What's going on? Suddenly, next day, they say, oh, now it works. It's like, okay, like, thanks. The rejection is not a nice feeling ever. But sometimes you get rejected for a reason. Maybe you have a wrong wording about something consent-related. It's possible. And of course, if you are distributing globally your application, it's good to remember that if you are Helsinki is getting to sleep and you start to release, it's a Tokyo prime time. Who knows? The morning rush. So you need to be prepared when you release. And also, the ecosystems are a little bit different. I like the Android one in the release point of view because it's flexible. You can do a lot of things there. But on iOS, it's more strict, and there is this kind of 7 days rollout schedule, which is, yeah, I guess it's a way also. But did we learn anything today? For us, worked that assistance over assurance that let's help people to test rather than testing ourselves. Of course, you want to test also, but maybe you want to test the edge cases or something very domain specific. Like, everybody needs to test. Everybody needs to be there to test their craft. Automation, keep your CI healthy, provide different kind of build variants, and automate communication. Prioritize the bugs, and no need to fix everything all the time. The next release will come anyway. Just fix the important things. And be brave, just roll out. Maybe 10% is good with your user base, maybe not. But for us, it worked, and we are happy about it. And everything, as Lisa said yesterday, the communication is everything. Learn about every release, iterate your process, and try to find a way to make it smoother and easy for everyone to access. Thank you.
Thank you, Pekka. Questions? I bet this one is getting a lot of them.
I have just a few short questions. First, your release cycle is weekly. Does it mean that your sprint is also ends weekly? Like, do you use sprint, and is it then one weekly sprint so that you can just immediately release, or is it not following the release?
Did you call like sprint?
Sprint, yeah.
Every team, these feature teams, every team works on their own way. Some teams are like, I don't like these sprints, like Kanban board way to life, and let's just prioritize them all the time. And some teams are with sprints, but no, it's nothing to do with, it's like teams have their own setups.
Yeah. So just on that day, there's a code freeze and that's it?
Yep.
Yeah. And one more question. You also do the pair testing, and how do you do that in practice, and when do you do that?
Let's say that it's maybe good to have some kind of backend implementation ready, if possible. You can do it as a QA and a developer, developer and developer, developer and the team lead, or like anyone can do it. It's like when you have two people, there is not so much hustle when you do the testing. It's easy to set up, easy to find the time slots in the calendar. It's easy to do. And so yeah, I would say whenever it's needed, but it's easy to set up, and all the time if needed. I don't know, did I answer your question, but it's kind of like situational based. It's just overall, yeah, like a testing mindset, yeah.
Okay, we have a question back here.
Thank you, Pekka. I have two questions actually. So, if you're gonna release the code, what is the best time if you consider the global audience, like 2:00 a.m. or?
It's a difficult one, but I think there is no magic time. If you have different time zones, then it gets really tricky. But I would say that you can start releasing like 0.1% almost whenever you want. It's still a small user base. Maybe with 0.1 you can already find some crashes, maybe. But I would say if there would be no restrictions, I would do it in the night. Let's say 1% starting on the night. So it's like slow and steady start. So I would do in the night.
Thank you. The second question, you mentioned feature teams, and I was wondering if they have to do testing. Do you have dedicated testers, or do developers do the testing? And who else is in this team?
Developers do the testing. And QAs, we have around 9 QAs, and our product organization is almost 1,000. So QAs have some small group of teams. So QA helps utilizing testing sessions, example. So, but in the end, developers test.
All right, next question from over here.
Hi, I'm over here. Thank you for the talk. You mentioned, the 10% threshold, and you're using metrics like the application not responding and the crash rate. But besides those, do you also then look at recent app reviews with that version, or get feedback from your customer support also to make that decision, or just purely those technical metrics?
We are going straight away with the technical measures, but we get a lot of feedback through our internal channels, of course. When you say, and you can say in the support that, hey, I have a bug, it will find me or find the team. So, and of course we are monitoring like the App Store reviews, but answer to your question, hard metrics.
Thanks.
Thanks for the presentation. I have a question regarding the release flow. I saw on the slides you have like dedicated release engineers, and what else is included in this process? I believe it might be like a duty engineer from development side to monitor all those pull requests, all the issues happen because we have 25 feature teams, and they have own responsibility for their services, for the client models. And what is the total group of people which is responsible for this release flow?
Great question. I didn't cover kind of like the release manager role at all, because I have a little bit time trouble. But release manager role is rotational role. So all the engineers will be a release manager, because we didn't find any other way how to do it. So we have a list, and it will it will go around. So we have Android, iOS, and QA release manager. QA is kind of like, it's like doing the orchestration. Like this is how it will fly. And then we have the iOS and Android doing the release builds. And also, all three together, we do the decisions. Sometimes they are hard, like what we include or not. Because the defect prioritization model is great, but it's impossible kind of to make bulletproof that everything would be covered in the document.
Slightly to this side.
I was wondering if the release testing is manually or automated. And if it is automated, how much % the automated was Maestro?
Great question. Multiple years, it was 100% manual. But I think nowadays we are around automated 40 or 50. So we are in the early stage still, and we are still developing our framework, but it's getting there, like around half.
And does it run in the pipeline or locally?
Yeah.
One last question. How did you convince developers to participate in the testing?
It's this kind of assistance model. Maybe we have hammered it down really good, but it's like a hive mindset. Like it's built in. When you join, you will feel it. It's time to test. It's time to test. You don't wanna release like bad stuff. You wanna release like gold and shiny things which work really nicely. Yeah.
All right, we have time for one or two more questions.
Hey, Pekka. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. So I have a two-part question. Surrounding bugs, who is responsible for the priority? And in terms of what gets fixed when, whether it's going to be in this release or whether it's going to be the upcoming release. And for bugs that are not going to be fixed in the same release, that might be handled later, how does that process look like? Is there some kind of workflow regarding that on the bug handling aspect? Yeah. Kiitos.
Thank you. Great questions. So the second part was that the release managers will decide in a tough place which going in or not. Like they have the lead there. For the what is P0 and what is P1, that was just our we thought it through together, and this list still lives. Example, we talk about the accessibility in the yesterday, and now there is like more stress coming to that. So I'm pretty sure the accessibility will go on the upper rank. Like if it's compliance thing, you need to be compliant. Like, and what was the third one? Yeah. So it's team's responsibility for the tickets which are not strong enough to get into release.
Sorry, just a little bit follow-up question. We're here working together and having more or less the same release process as what you described. So we're very interested in that. And you also mentioned like the Maestro and how far are you with that? And I think Maestro is mainly for Android in this case, or do you also use it for iOS?
It's for both.
It's for both.
It's for both, and I think also like other type of not only native apps. Also, yeah, but here for both.
But then it's already 50%.
Yeah. Yeah, it's around half. When you do a test, you do it for the both, one go.
All right.
I have a question.
Go
Actually,
ahead.
I have two. So I'm Kaspar, and I come from Wolt, the green one.
Mm.
So first thing is that what happened with your shoes?
I think the shock fashion is not like I will have our own brand someday. This
Really
is not,
cool.
but I like socks. Socks are good.
Yeah. And the second question, which is my personal favorite, and I get this a lot of time. You know, last year I ordered some food from Wolt and it was cold.
I just talked about it today with another gentleman, and it's a difficult thing. The process is long. But please reach us if that was still you are thinking about it. Let's try to find a solution.
I feel for you, brother. So.
All right. Thank you, Pekka.
Thank you.